Hi everyone. This lecture is to show you how to start the process of working on assignment 1.2, Introduction to SQL Select Statement. In order to work on this particular assignment, you will need to have download the database from the Canvas system, then restore the database to a Microsoft SQL environment. In the Microsoft SQL environment for our class, we have UIS Virtual Desktop as a standard environment for you to work on. And the data set, as you can see in Module 1, is called the MS SQL Cape Cod data file. And it is a zip file. And we're going to be using this file in a virtual environment to restore the database to a SQL Server environment. And in order to use the SQL Server environment, we have to log into our UIS Citrix Virtual Desktop first. And now I have logged into the UIS Citrix Virtual Desktop in a separate tab on this particular browser. And I can start the process. And the application we're going to be using to access the Microsoft SQL Server environment is a client software called the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. And you can find this particular software under the folder of Microsoft SQL Server Tool 18. And the first one, not the first one, the one says Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio is the one we try to start. And start the software, and the process of starting the software can be, again, fast or slow, depending on how fast your connection and how many students are using the virtual desktop. If you encounter some warning, just simply say OK and continue the process. If the computer screen sort of like freeze for a while, please be patient. This may take 20-30 seconds or even 1 minute to start the software. So once the software is successfully starting, you will see this particular login screen. Now at this particular point, it is a little bit tricky to use a server-based software in a client environment. And so be careful of what kind of authentication method you will be using to log into the system. For convenience, we are going to be using the Microsoft SQL Server installed on the virtual desktop. Please be aware the virtual desktop is the location for the SQL Server. And the server name can be found by simply clicking on the drop-down box and search for the server. And the server we're looking at is a database engine. So you open up database engine, you will see this one with a weird name, but it says something about SQL Express, and that will be the server we will be using. The authentication method other than using the default window authentication. The difference authentication is outside of the coverage of this course. But for our purpose, we are going to be using the native or so-called the SQL Server authentication method. The user will be directly inside the SQL Server. And the login we are going to be doing here is using the default SQL Server installation administration account. And this admin account is simply SA. To make the login identity more clear, I have taken a screenshot here to show you what is the user that we're going to be using. It is the SA user, and the password is p@ssw, and that particular letter is not O, is 0. So p@www.0rd, and that will be your password for the login. And I will keep the screen here for a few seconds so you can write down the username and password. So we can attempt now, try to enter the password by typing the password in the password field. Make sure you type in the password correctly. And you can choose either to remember or not remember password and click connect. Once you have successfully connected to the server, and this will show the connection on the left panel of your computer screen. And you can expand the database, and there are something called a system database and the database snapshot. When you reach this particular step, you are ready to restore the database. And I will use another video to show you the process of restoring database using the admin account.